Well, hello everyone, my name is Wigo and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Last time we took a look at Pokemon Enhanced Blue version, which isn't that different from the normal game. So this time we'll be looking into one of the most anticipated ROM hacks of ever. It's Pokemon Shiny Gold Sigma. It's basically Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver on the GBA, but with a lot of different new mechanics implemented, such as new moves, new characters, new gyms, new types like Fairy type is implemented in this game. And since I love myself some Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I could not resist taking this game on. And since Ho-Oh is on the cover, I really want to try and beat this game with only Fire types, since that's something I haven't done yet. The rules for this one will be the same as always. I can only use Fire type Pokemon in battle. I am allowed to use HM Pokemon and no items in battle whatsoever, but held items will be allowed. And as always, people, don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications if you haven't done that already. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into Pokemon Gold Sigma. As you start off the game, you see this amazing character sprite of Gold, but we can't name ourselves Gold, we have to name ourselves something fiery. Yes, Pyro. And then for our rival, I'm gonna go with something Western. Randy, the perfect name for anything. If you don't know what to name anything, just name it Randy. As we go to Professor Elm's lab, I have to pick my starter and I'm gonna go with Cyndaquil, the fire one. It's been a while since I named one of my Pokemon So let's do that again because it's a mouse that's on fire. Then as I want to go to Professor Pokemon's house, we run into Zinnia from the Hoenn region and she wants to battle us. She has a bag on which I easily take out with my Cyndaquil's tackles. She doesn't say much and runs off. And if you walk 5 steps further, you see the 3 legendary beasts, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. But if you talk to them, they just flee. So I don't really know what they're doing here, but it's still cool to see them. We then go to Professor Pokemon's house to pick up the mystery egg and get the Pokedex from Professor Oak. Then we leave the house, we try to go back to Professor Elm, but who's there? It's Randy. He of course has a Totodile, but it has a different kind of moveset. He has Double Team, but even with Double Team, I was still able to take him out very easily. We then go to Professor Elm, we give him the mystery egg, and he's going to analyze it. Yeah, analyze, whatever that means. After that, I walked all the way to the Bellsprout Tower, and in that tower, my Cyndaquil evolved into a Quilava. Then at the top of the tower, we see that Randy is having a conversation with the Sage of the Bellsprout Tower. After he wins, he gets the HM for Flash, and then I challenge him. He has a pretty damn weak team, so I just Ember my way through his entire team and get myself the HM for Flash. Then I enter the next gym, which is Flying type, but before we can take on the leader, Zinnia is there waiting for us once again. She told us that she already has the badge and that she wants to see how strong we've become. But we of course one-shot our new Pokemon Whismur with a single Ember, and Bagon goes down after I put a Leer on him and then tackle him twice. Zinnia runs off and it's time for us to take on Faulkner. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he's the Flying type gym leader. Look at his hair.
Look at the top of his head!
It looks like a bird's nest. Of course, we one-shot the Pidgey, and next up is Pidgeotto, and that thing should go down with 2 embers, but he used 2 potions on it, so it actually took me 4 embers until the Pidgeotto was finally dead. And then last up is this Noctowl, and he is pretty damn special defensively bulky. So my Ember barely does any damage on it. But eventually I was able to get a burn on him, and I was only left with 1 HP after he hit me with a few uproars, and I was able to finish this gym battle with only 1 HP remaining. Then we go along with our journey. I try to enter Union Cave, but Zinnia is there once again. She doesn't want to fight, and she just says that she will get the next gym badge before us. And she then gives us that smile, you know, that smile. I then go down into Slowpoke Well to try and save all the Slowpoke, but you need more than 1 Pokemon to actually progress here. So I have to capture myself a Metapod, and it still isn't enough. You have to have 3 Pokemon until you can take out the 2 Team Rocket members. So I also grab myself a Zubat, and then we can take them on, finally. I make sure to use Harden with Metapod, and once we go to Zubat, I just throw Pokeball so that Quilava is the only one that can damage their team. So we easily beat them up, and then it's time for the Team Rocket Executive, which had a coughing and an Inkata, so I sweeped his entire team as well. So we save all of the Slowpoke even though that they don't have their tails anymore. With this little town saved, I go to the next gym, which is Bug type, but before we can take on Buxy, we have to take on Zinnia once again. And it's another double battle, and I don't have a second Pokemon with me, so here's Question Mark. Because Question Mark is so OP, it can't even attack, so we easily take out the Whismur with an Ember and the Bagon with an Ember and 2 quick attacks. Buxy time now. But since we have a Fire type in our arsenal, this is probably the easiest gym battle yet. Our first Pokemon, Ledeba, is a 2-shot. Next up is Vespiquen, and I was a little bit afraid of it having Power Gem, but it didn't have it, so 2 Embers and that thing is down as well. Next is Beedrill, who I scorched as well with my Ember, and last is Scyther, which I was a little bit afraid of as well, but it really couldn't touch me, so another 2 Embers, and we got the Bug Badge under our belt. As we try to leave the town, we have to fight Randy once again, and he starts off with a Butterfree this time, which we one-shot with an Ember. Next is Croconaw, who we easily take out with 3 quick attacks, even though we got hit with some water guns, which barely did any damage. And last up is Zubat, and since the rain is up, I'm just gonna go for 2 quick attacks to win myself another rival battle, and then we can head on to Goldenrod City to do the radio quiz. But as I was doing the radio quiz, I found out that you get a Charmander down at the game corner. But before I got that Charmander, I wanted to give Whitney a shot first. But of course, Whitney being Whitney, actually it wasn't even her Miltank that stomped me this time. I actually got past her Miltank, and her final Pokemon Sylveon killed me with Moonblast because I barely any HP remaining. So I knew this was probably possible, but I still went to grab my Charmander first. So after getting my Charmander, I trained him up to level 16 against weak Bug types and Grass types, and now we have a Charmeleon on the team. And even with Charmeleon on the team, I still lost a few times, but eventually I was able to beat Whitney and her stupid Miltank. We start the battle off great. I go for a Metal Claw, but then we get put to sleep by a Sing. Then she goes for the Metronome twice, but doesn't get any good moves, and 2 more Metal Claws take out the Clefairy. Next up is our Miltank, and I still stay in with Charmeleon and go for the Growl to lower its attack, but after 2 stomps, we're down. So I switch in Quilava. Then I go for 4 Leers because I just wanted to lower its defense, and then I one-shot it with a Flame Wheel because the special and physical split is implemented in this game. Next is Delcatty, that thing gets one-shot by a Flame Wheel as well. And last up is Sylveon, who we 3-shot with a Flame Wheel because it just used a Super Potion and couldn't really touch us. So after the battle, of course Whitney doesn't want to give us a badge because she's just sad. But eventually she calms down and we get our badge. Then I carried on my journey and I found the TM for Dig, which I learned to Charmeleon and Quilava. As we try to leave the park, we have our first encounter with Brendan from the Hoenn region. He only has a Mudkip, so my Charmeleon easily takes that thing down with Dig, but I think this is a very cool addition to the game. And then on the next route, we can capture 2 new team members, Growlithe and Vulpix, so I name my Growlithe Doggo and my Vulpix is named Zweeber because in the Dora the Explorer animated series in Belgium, the name of the stealing fox was Zweeber. Then we go into the Burn Tower and Brendan is there again. That's 2 Brendan fights in like the span of 2 minutes, but now he does have a Marsh Thump and he takes down my Charmeleon, so I switch in Quilava to take him down with another Headbutt. Next up is Dustox, so I switch in my Growlithe, but it barely does any damage with Ember, so I switch back into Quilava to take it down with a Flame Wheel and win another battle against Brendan. Then after traversing my way through the entire Burn Tower, I find Randy once again, and the first thing he says is E for some reason. He starts off with a Porygon while I start off with Charmeleon. I managed to get him down into orange health, but then he switches in Croconaw and takes down my Charmeleon after I managed to hit it with an Ember and a Dig. So then I switch in Quilava, I go for the Headbutt, but he heals up with a Super Potion. Next turn, we get hit with a few more Water Guns and 3 more Headbutts take out the Croconaw. Porygon came back out, so I switch in Growlithe and try to take it out with 2 Digs, but it doesn't quite take him out, and we get put to sleep and take it out by 2 Psybeams, so I switch in Vulpix and finish off the Porygon. Next is Magnemite, so I go for the Ember. It doesn't even do a half, so he just goes for Iron Defense and I go for a Dig. It still doesn't take him out, so he uses a Super Potion and then 3 more Embers take down the Magnemite. Last is Zubat, so I switch in Quilava and finish this battle with another headbutt, and after the battle, my Quilava evolves into Typhlosion because he reached level 36. Then we go all the way across town to challenge the next gym leader, Morty, with his ghost types, and no, not Morty from Rick and Morty, since he didn't turn himself into a pickle. I decide to lead off with Doggo and he's dead because of a Shadow Ball. So I swap in Typhlosion and take out the Ghastly with a Flame Wheel. Next up is Spiritomb, and I switch in Vulpix for some reason and we get wrecked by a Rock Tomb. So then I switch in Charmeleon and I go for the Dig combined with an Ember. I do some decent damage to the Spiritomb, but we get eventually taken out by another Rock Tomb. Now all of our hope rests on Typhlosion's shoulders, but he's able to one-shot the Spiritomb from this range with a Flame Wheel, and next up is Haunter, who we also one-shot with a Flame Wheel. Last up is Gengar. I hit a Flame Wheel and I burn him as well, and he hits me with a Thunder. The next two turns I hit him with more Flame Wheels, but he decides to heal up with 2 more Hyper Potions. Last up, he uses a full heal and my Flame Wheel wins ourselves the 4th gym badge. Then I go to the local dance club and beat up a bunch of women to get myself the HM for Surf. Yes, this sounds like a game for children. Then I travel all the way to Cinewood City to try and take on Chuck, but Wally is there because he apparently just moved to this island. Lucky for me, he does have a very bad team, plus Mine and Eneralds all go down very easily, and now I can enter the gym. And normally Chuck is always a pushover, you never have any problems with him because he just has a Primeape and a Poliwrath, but now he has a full team of 5 Pokemon, and all of them have great movesets, so this was very hard because he had a Poliwrath that swept my entire team, but the rest of his team also gave me problems. After getting swept about 8 times, I decided it was time for me to evolve my Charmeleon into a Charizard, and he would also learn Wing Attack, which is a very good bonus. With my newly acquired Charizard, I went back to Chuck and I beat the Poliwrath, but then we got smacked by his thick boy Hariyama. But after that I tried again and I went in with Growlithe, who got one shot by a close combat. So for some reason then I switched in Zweeber to try and burn him, but he also got one shot, of course. Then it was finally time for Typhlosion to shine. He went for 2 Flame Wheels and took out the Medicham. Next was Poliwrath, so I switched in Charizard and go for the Wing Attack. I got the crit and took him out in 1 hit. Next is Primeape. I go for another Wing Attack, get another crit, and take it out in a single hit as well. Last up is Hariyama. I go for the Wing Attack, do about half. I get hit, but then he starts using his potions, and eventually after spamming Wing Attack another 4 times, I take out the Hariyama and win myself the 5th gym badge. Then I go to the Pokemart to pick up the secret potion for Ampharos, but before we go and give it to him, I have to fight Eugene, and he can't handle that Suicune loves us and not him, so he wants to fight us. He starts off with a Drowsy that's level 19, so we one-shot it. Next up is Kadabra, who we also one-shot with a Bite. Next up is Electrode, so I go for the Dig. It doesn't quite take him out, but he just keeps on spamming Charge. Even though we're paralyzed, I still am able to get off another Dig and sweep his entire team with Growlithe. After this unfortunate encounter, I go to the lighthouse and give the secret potion to Ampharos so that we can take on Jasmine as our next gym leader. As we go to her gym, we challenge her and she starts off with a Donphan. I thought she was a Steel gym leader. Anyway, I decided to lead off with Doggo and get off an Intimidate, but we got one shot because of a Rock Slide, so I switch in Charizard, I go for the Flamethrower, we survive a Rock Slide, and another Flamethrower takes out the Elephant. Next up is Steelix, but his special defense is pretty weak and Flamethrower is super effective and special, so we take him out in a single hit. Next is Magneton, who we one-shot as well, and after that it's Lairon. I decided to go for the Wing Attack because I misclicked, but even though I misclicked, it still didn't do anything, so I go for the Dig next turn. But it doesn't quite take it out because Lairon's defenses are pretty damn good. So he takes down my Charizard with a Rock Blast. So I switch in Zweeber to try and go for another Dig and get him some XP, but I hit the Dig and she heals up already. So my Dig did some decent damage, but a single Rock Blast takes out my little Foxy. So I switch in Typhlosion to easily finish it off with another Dig. We did get hit with an Earthquake, but we managed to survive, and last up is Mawile, who we also take down with a Flame Wheel. With another gym badge in our pocket, we now try to head on to the Lake of Rage, but before we can get there, there is someone waiting for us. It's Brendan once again. He still has only gotten a Marshtomp and a Dustox, so this fight wasn't any different than the other times I fought him. Also, why does he have a Dustox? He doesn't have it normally. Why does he have to have it now? Then I finally got past him and I went to the Lake of Rage to try and capture the Gyarados to use it as an HM Pokemon, but I barely had any Pokeballs left, so I had to take him out. We then acquired the red scale and we give it to Lance, and he tells us that there is a secret Team Rocket hideout back in Mahogany Town. We go into the secret base together with Lance and we find Jesse and James, but they just have their usual team, Coughing, Ekans, and Meowth, so we easily take those three out and we can head on to the final part of the Team Rocket hideout together with Lance. And that final part is of course Ariana. She has an Arbok, a Skuntank, and a Perugly, which all easily get taken out by my Typhlosion's Dig and Flame Wheels. And of course, after saving Mahogany Town from Team Rocket, it's time to take on the 7th gym leader, Price. And you might think this is going to be a very easy battle. He has ice types. Nope. Most of his team is actually water ice or just plain water type. So while normally Price would probably be a one-shot sweep, in this game he is a very hard opponent to take down with my fire team. His first Pokemon is a Celio, who I can probably take down very easily, but it takes me a lot of effort. So next is Piloswine, and that thing is Earthquake and he sweeps basically everything except for Charizard. So I knew I needed another team member. But then I remembered that you can get a Magmar down at the Burn Tower, which I forgot about for some reason, so my ass went over there, looked for about half an hour, finally found one, and I captured it and named it Psyduck because apparently Magmar is based off a duck, which I also didn't know, but he is going to be a very nice addition to the team. And with Magmar as my new team member, I decided to grind up my team and go back to Price, but he has a Vaporeon as well, which has Surf and basically one-shots my entire team. But eventually, after trying and trying and trying, I also learned Thunder Punch to my Typhlosion and to Magmar as well, so that they would have more coverage. So after pushing through against Price and losing 30 times against him, on my 31st try, I was able to take him down. I lead off with Typhlosion and go for Thunder Punch twice to take out his first Pokemon Celio while getting hit with a Surf. Next up is Piloswine, so I switch in Charizard and take that thing down with a single Flamethrower, and after that it's Frozlass, who also can't take a single Flamethrower to the face. Next up is Dugong, so I swap in Magmar and go for the Sunny Day to weaken their water moves, and then I go for the Thunder Punch. But still, 2 Surfs was enough to take down my Psyduck. So I then swap in Typhlosion and take out the Dugong with another Thunder Punch. Next is Vaporeon, and because the Sunny Day is still up, I switch into Charizard and go for the Flamethrower, but it barely does anything as he sets up a Hail. Then I go for the Wing Attack, but he heals up with Rest. Then he uses a full heal and I'm able to hit 2 more Wing Attacks before we get taken out by a single Surf. So then I knew that Typhlosion could take it out with another Thunder Punch from this range, and that's exactly what I did. Last up is Sneasel, and as you know, Sneasel is one of the worst defensive Pokemon ever, so a single Fire Punch wins me the 7th gym badge. Then I got a call from Professor Elm saying that the radio tower got taken over by Team Rocket, so I cleared half of it out and the other half I spent down in a basement. No, not that way. I was fighting my rival there. He starts off with a Golbat and I start up with Psyduck. I'm easily able to two-shot the Golbat with Thunder Punches because it just used Supersonic and missed. Next up is Feraligatr, so I stay in and go for the Sunny Day to lower its attack from its water type moves. After that, I started spamming Thunder Punches until I got him down into red health and burned, but a final bite took out my Magmar. So then I switch in Typhlosion and take out the Feraligatr with a Thunder Punch. Next is Magneton, so I switch in Duggo, go for 2 Flame Wheels to take that thing out as well, and after that it's Haunter. I was able to get off a bite and do a very big chunk of damage, but 2 Nightshades was enough to take my little puppy down. So then I just decided to switch in Vulpix, but we got put to sleep by Hypnosis, but luckily enough it didn't really do any damage, so a Flamethrower finished off the Haunter. Last up was Sneasel, and I stayed in to try and get myself some extra experience, but he used Feint Attack and I hit myself in my confusion to take myself out. So Charizard was up next and finished off the Sneasel with a Flamethrower. After that battle, I went back to the radio tower, took on Team Rocket over there. They were all very easy, I had no problems whatsoever, and I saved Goldenrod City. After that, I traveled back to Mahogany Down and followed the route to the right. But as I was trying to enter the icy path, there was another trainer waiting for us. It was Zinnia. And of course, she now has a full team of dragons. So I lost, and when I returned to her, she was already gone, so you can only fight her once. You win or you lose, it depends on what you do basically. Then we head on to the next town and go to Claire's gym. And as you can see, it's raining in her gym, so the first thing I always have to do when I battle Claire is set up a sunny day, because else my Pokemon's moves are barely going to be doing any damage, and we're going to be taking a lot more damage from her Kingdra. But going into the battle, I saw that her team is around level 50. So I knew that I was not going to be able to beat her at level 40. So after losing to her about 5 to 6 times, I decided that I had to grind up because I couldn't even get past her second Pokemon. So after grinding for about 2 hours, I was finally able to get all of my team up to level 50. With my buffed up team, I went back to Claire, but it really didn't change that much. I couldn't beat her Kingdra, and even if I managed to beat her Kingdra, she still had a Flygon. So I grinded my team up to level 55, and then I was finally able to finish off Claire and her stupid dragon types, the hardest gym leader up until this point by far. She starts off with Altaria while I start off with Magmar, and I start off by confusing her and then going for Sunny Day while she hits herself twice in her confusion. Then I switch in Doggo to go for a lot of strengths, but eventually we got taken out even though we got her down into red health twice, but she had to heal up of course. So then I switch in Charizard and take out the Altaria with a wing attack. Next is Dragonair, so I switch in Zweeber and go for the Confuse Ray and the Attract. After that I also go for a Will-O-Wisp to burn it, but it has Shed Skin, so I got it down into red health, but then she switched in Gyarados and I burned him as well. Then I used another Confuse Ray and Attract with my Vulpix on the Gyarados as well. And then I just spammed Flamethrower until he finally went down because he kept on using Aqua Ring, and Aqua Ring in this game works the same way as Recover. So with the Gyarados down, she now switches in Kingdra, so I stay in with my Vulpix. Sadly enough, we do get outsped and one-shot by a Surf. So I then switch in my Psyduck and I set up another Sunny Day. I then also confuse the Kingdra and go for 2 Thunder Punches before my Magmar goes down to 2 more Surfs. Then I switch in Charizard, I go for the Dig, but it doesn't take it out and she heals it up with a full restore after that. Then I can hit it with a few more digs and wing attacks, but my Charizard ultimately goes down. Only my final team member Typhlosion remained, and I hit a Thunder Punch, but it was left with 5 HP once again, and we got hit with a Surf. We also got the Paralysis, so next turn we outsped and took out the Kingdra. Next was Flygon, and I just kept on fire punching it until I burned him, and then he used Fly. He missed his Fly because else my Typhlosion would have been dead. So my Typhlosion hit another fire punch to take out the Flygon, and last up was Dragonair. I start off by going for a dig, it doesn't take out the Dragonair, she hits me with a Dragon Breath, I'm only left with 6 health, but my Typhlosion hung in there and took it out with another dig, and we finally have our 8 gym badges so we can head on to the Pokemon League. But before we go there, I first pick up my Firestone down at the Dragon's Den, and I evolved my Growlithe into Arcanine. I couldn't get a second Firestone because you can only get that in Kanto. Then as I was making my way up to Victory Road, I ran into Wally once again, and he now has a buffed up team. Even with his buffed up team, I still took down his first Pokemon Medang with a Thunder Punch and a Fire Punch. Next up was Hunter, who also got one shot because of a Fire Punch. And last up was Gallade, who I 2-shot as well. Very easy. Wally wasn't really a very good trainer. Then I made my way up to Victory Road, but who was there waiting for us once again? It was Randy himself. He starts off with his Sneasel, and I start off with my newly evolved Arcanine and just burn him to death. Next is Feraligatr, so I switch in Typhlosion and Thunder Punch that thing to death. The next 2 Pokemon are Haunter and Kadabra, who both are a one-shot with Fire Punch. Next is Golbat, and that thing goes down in 2 Thunder Punches if he didn't heal up, so I had to spam it a few times. And last up is Magneton, who goes down to a few Fire Punches as well. Saying punch that many times, I now feel like I am One Punch Man. So after beating up my boy Randy, it was time for us to challenge the Elite Four. First up being Will battle with his psychic types. He leads with a Xatu, so I lead with my Arcanine. He starts off by setting up a light screen, but I'm easily able to take him down with 2 super effective bites. Next up is Bronzong, and I know I could go for Flamethrower here, but I don't want to do it because the light screen is up. So I just kept on biting away at it while getting hit with 2 psychics and being left with only 31 HP. I finally took him out after he used the max potion. Next up is Slowbro, so I swap in Typhlosion. I get hit with a lot of earthquakes, but 3 thunder punches take down the... I don't even know what Slowbro is. After Slowbro, it's your boy Hypno. I start off by using some fire punches and I got him down into red health, but he healed up with a max potion and then put me to sleep with hypnosis. I just kept on using fire punch, but I couldn't snap out of my sleeping state, so we eventually got taken out. So then I just swap in Charizard, finish off the Hypno and the rest of his team with Flamethrower, since the rest of his Pokemon were Exeggutor and Jinx, and they both went down in a single hit. With Will defeated, it's time for us to head on to the next one, Koga with his poison types. He starts off with an Ariados, so I lead off with my Arcanine, and I go for the Flamethrower, but he has a Focus Sash on and he Toxics me. Luckily, I got the burn and that took him out by the end of the turn. Next is Fortress, who was another one-shot with Flamethrower. Gliscor managed to hit a fly on me, which took me down to only 10 HP combined with the toxic damage, but I was able to take him down with 2 Flamethrowers as well. Crobat is next. I switch in Charizard, get a Flamethrower critical hit and took him out in a single hit. And then Toxicroak comes out, so I just stay in with Charizard. I go for the wing attack. It does only about half of his health and I am confused now. Then I get hit with a Sludge Bomb. I'm almost dead. One more hit and I'm down. But my Flamethrower hits and Toxicroak is out of here. And now his last Pokemon, Shiftry, comes out, which isn't a poison type, or am I wrong? So I just stay in with Charizard and one-shot him with Flamethrower, and then we can head on to the next one, Bruno. And since nobody ever dies against Bruno, like always, wait, I'm dead because of an Onix? Really? Okay, let's all just pretend that that did not happen. Okay, so now it's finally time for Bruno. My first battle, I definitely didn't lose. First Pokemon is Hitmontop, and I lit with Arcanine, and I'm able to take down his Hitmontop with 2 Flamethrowers while getting hit with a single close combat in the process. Next is Hitmonchan, so I switch in Psyduck and set up a Sunny Day to get rid of the Sandstorm, and then I go for a Flamethrower, but 2 Earthquakes takes me down. So then I switch back into Arcanine and take down Hitmonchan with another Flamethrower. Next is Machamp, so I stay in with Arcanine, go for the Flamethrower. It does just over half, and it burns him as well, but he doesn't go for an attacking move, and next turn he's down and out. Next up is Onix, and I go for 2 Flamethrowers and I get hit with 2 Earthquakes as well, but luckily my second one burned him and I'm left with 7 HP. Then he heals his Onix up and I go for 2 double kicks with my doggy to take down the Harshnag. Next up is Hitmonlee. I'm able to hit 2 fire punches and take it out, but we also got hit by a close combat. And finally is his Lucario, who we also take down with a single fire punch because he's a steel type. That's Bruno out of the way, let's go to Karen the manager. She starts off with an Umbreon, so I lead off with Arcanine, and this battle didn't go that well. I just kept on using double kick because it's super effective, but it kept on putting me in confusion with Confuse Ray, and it also used Moonlight more than it should. So this was a very hard battle for my Arcanine. Umbreon's defenses are also very high, and that meant that my Arcanine ultimately lost. So I have to finish off Umbreon with Typhlosion's Thunder Punch. Next up is Tyranitar, so I switch in Charizard, but we lost because Tyranitar's defenses are very high, and we got 2-shot as well. So then I switch in Typhlosion, I go for the Thunder Punch, it doesn't do enough, and then 2 more attacks with Dig, and the Tyranitar is down. Next up was Undoon, so I stayed in, but he hit me with a Feint attack. I was able to hit 2 Digs, but it wasn't enough to take him out, and he outsped with extreme speed and killed my Typhlosion. Then I switch in Magmar, and I take down the Houndoom with another Thunder Punch. Next is Dusknoir, so I stay in with Magmar, I put up a Sunny Day and confuse him with Confuse Ray, and then I kill him with 2 more Flamethrowers. Easy peasy. Next is a Crow, more specifically Honchkrow, and I stay in with Magmar once again. I go for a Flamethrower, it does about half, and I burn him as well. I go for another one, but it doesn't take him out, and he heals up with a full restore. then 2 more flamethrowers and Honchkrow is out of here, and last up is Vileplume, who got one shot by another flamethrower, and then it was time for Lance, the Dragon Master, the champion himself. But I underestimated his team just a little bit. His highest Pokemon is a level 65 Dragonite, but the rest of his team is Salamence, Garchomp, Aerodactyl, and some very other good dragon types. So with my team being slightly underleveled, I wasn't able to take him out at these levels, so I had to run through the Elite Four multiple times again until we eventually reached level 70. The reason why we had to do this is because Aerodactyl would basically one-shot all of my Pokemon, and even if I got rid of Aerodactyl, Garchomp's Earthquake was just way too much for me. Then after I trained up most of my team to up around level 70, I was able to take him down, but not with ease. Since when I got to his Dragonite, he would just set up loads and loads of Dragon Dances and sweep my entire team because nobody could outspeed, and he would one-shot everything with Outrage. So my only thing that I could do is confuse him so that he could hit himself in confusion or just get very, very lucky. On my 67th attempt, I was finally able to beat Lance. He starts off with Garchomp while I start off with Charizard, and I of course lead off by going for Attract. He manages to hit a Dragon Claw, and then I hit 3 wing attacks in a row without him attacking me, but then he heals up. Then after he healed up, I hit 4 wing attacks in a row without him attacking me to take out the Garchomp with a lot of luck. Next is Gyarados, so I switch in because I knew that he didn't have Intimidate, and my Thunder Punch took him out in a single shot. Next is Aerodactyl. I go for the Thunder Punch as we get hit with a Rock Slide. It doesn't take us out. He heals up with a full restore, and 2 more Thunder Punches take down the Aerodactyl. Then one of his hardest Pokemons to take down comes out, Salamence. So I switch in my Magmar and I start off by confusing it with a Confuse Ray, and then I set up the Sunny Day. We then go back and forth a little bit with Flamethrower and he healing up, but eventually my Magmar triumphed over the Salamence with his flamethrowers and of course some confusion luck. The next up is Ace came out, Dragonite. I of course start off by confusing him and then start hitting him with a lot of flamethrowers, but he hit an Outrage and I was only left with a little bit of HP. Luckily my Magmar burned him. I went for another flamethrower. It didn't take the Dragonite out, it just hung on. So he healed up next turn with a full restore, and my Magmar is now out of flamethrowers. So the Sunny Day faded away. I tried to set up another one, but he outsped me with extreme speed and took me down. So I then switched in Zweeber and I saw that he was burned because of my Magmar's flame body, but still Zweeber got taken out by a single Outrage. And then Typhlosion had to come in. I was able to get off one more flamethrower, but then we got taken out by another Outrage. So it was then up to Arcanine to take down this Dragonite. I kept on spamming Strength until he eventually went down, but he kept spamming Roost and healing up. But my Arcanine came out victorious, and his last Pokemon is a Charizard. Luckily though, my Arcanine is way stronger than his Charizard. He just kept on using Crunch, which wasn't enough to take me down, and 3 strengths finished this battle, and I'm now the champion of Pokemon Gold Sigma. Normally now it would show you the battle with Red and Blue, but I couldn't do that for some reason. I beat Blue, I have his footage, but this video is way too long already. And when I decided to go to Mount Silver, the guard told me that I needed 20 gym badges to go and fight Red. So I did some research, and apparently there are a lot more gyms in this game. At the post game, there is another Pokemon League, there is gym leaders from Hoenn and all that stuff, so I think there's a lot more to explore in this game. And if you want me to do the entire post game in a separate video, definitely leave a comment down below. So now let's review the game a little bit. It is a remake of Pokemon Heart Gold, basically, with some very nice new added features to it. And I would honestly rather play this than Heart Gold. The only thing that I would miss from Heart Gold is the Pokemon walking behind you. But I would definitely recommend you to give this game a shot. I will leave a link to it in the description. Download it, see if you like it. and let me know what the post game is like. With that out of the way, I want to thank my Patreon supporters for making this video possible. If you want to become a Patreon yourself, you can click the link in the description or in the end cards, or you can also support me on YouTube by becoming a member and getting some very nice perks if you want to do that to support the channel. And as always, people, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'm Zwigo, and I'll see you guys next time.